This is the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show, sponsored by your North Texas Chevy dealers. Together, let's drive.
This is UDS, UDSS, this is UDS, and this is us.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Jonah Javad and Andrew Seeley. Seeley, you told me you swung a golf club for the first time in forever yesterday?
Are you going to put this up right before we talk Masters?
Absolutely.
Come on, man. No. So I went to a friend's birthday party yesterday. Just turned 33, been a long time friend. Took us to Top Golf. First time I picked up a club in 10 years, and I am sore in like lower back, shoulder.
It doesn't get any
plant
better.
leg. It's awful everywhere.
Oh, well, clearly we're going to be talking some golf tonight, and maybe the Mavericks?
Maybe.
What do those two have in common? I'll tell you coming up.
I would say we got a lot to get into it. Let's get right into it with what's on the show.
Here's What's on the Show, sponsored by NFM.
Got me flubbing like Rory on 18. History at Augusta for the second straight year, thanks to Rory McIlroy. A ridiculously chaotic final round punctuates an up-and-down tournament. The Mavs season is mercifully over, but Cooper Flagg is still in the running for Rookie of the Year. And tonight, we ask this or that, comparing two of the best weekends in sports. That's what's on the show. Now, who's on the show, Jonah?
A man you have never seen before. You've never seen him on WFA ever before. Mike Leslie joining us from, I guess, his guest room.
That's exactly right.
Thanks for joining us, Mike. He made it out of the garage. He made it out of the garage about 2 hours ago after going through his Masters Sunday.
That was not my garage. That was a buddy's garage.
Oh,
I wish I had that set up in my garage. Are you kidding me?
Well, he's made it, and he's wearing a Princeton basketball shirt to show us about the school that he did not attend.
Did not attend at all.
But we must talk about the Masters because there were so many different storylines, and obviously Rory wins his second straight, and we can touch on that, of course. But I found that there were so many fun and weird moments that really throughout the course of the weekend, and especially on Sunday, on that second nine. But Mike, we'll start with you. Just what felt like the most memorable part of this year's Masters?
Wow. Most memorable part might be some of the celebrations afterward. Rory with his father, Rory with his daughter Poppy. Some of the comments that Rory made afterward about how this weekend has become Poppy's favorite week on the calendar for a variety of different reasons, including ice cream. There were some really, really cool family moments for the McIlroys over the course of the after round period. But it's just he has a flair for the dramatic, sometimes in not the best of ways.
Most polite way you could ever put it.
Sure.
Yeah. I honestly wonder whether or not Andrew Seeley should feel vindicated relative to the conversation that he and I and Pete Friedman had on Friday. As
I was hoping you were going to do this. I was hoping.
Or whether.
Yeah.
Well, because I don't know. Like, I feel like on a lot of levels, Andrew, we have a case here where we're all correct. You were absolutely right to say, pump the brakes on Rory McIlroy. He's going to figure out a way to screw this thing up. But Pete and I were also correct in saying he's got a 6-stroke lead. Nobody's really going to be able to beat him. It all came out in the wash. We were all right.
Sure, that's one way of putting it. I will say this, right? Pete, to give some background here, Pete asked me if you were a betting man, would you go with Rory? Or he wanted Rory and the top two guys behind him, and I'd take the rest of the field. And I'm like, I don't know how the other two guys are going to do. I know how what's going to happen to Rory at some point this tournament, so I was a little nervous on taking that bet. But no, my point was Rory's going to have this spectacular Friday, great round two. As you were claiming at the time, lapping the field, literally the largest lead in Masters history. And I'm sitting here thinking, listen, guys, I've seen this movie enough times to know come Sunday, everything's going to get funky. And lo and behold, wake up on Sunday morning, tied for the lead, down 2. And when he double bogeys early in the round, you're sitting there thinking, oh, my goodness, it is literally self-destruction again. And it was one of my favorite tweets heading into the weekend was like, either Rory is going to destroy all trauma left in his soul, or he's going to develop new trauma from this entire disaster. And thankfully for him, he doesn't have to relive a lot of those bad memories.
That's what I thought. I mean, going into Saturday, it's like Rory's either going to do this. He's going to go back-to-back, which would be incredible after him not winning for nearly 2 decades, the one tournament that had eluded him for so long. Or he's going to blow the largest 36-hole lead in Masters history, and he's going to kind of be not right back where he started, but it is going to be another, oh, geez. And that's kind of been the story with Rory for so long. And I don't know, it felt like Groundhog Day, because I remember watching last year's tournament, and it was Rosie and McIlroy kind of fighting there at the finish. And And Rose just kind of collapsed there on the second 9. He just did he just looked completely unglued, which is uncharacteristic for Justin Rose because, as somebody who's 45 years old, you figure that he'd be, a little bit more solid between the ears. But, I mean, he's still competing at 45. I wonder if, next year he'll show up at 46 and get it done. The same age I believe Jack Nicklaus was when he won 40 years ago. So Rory, also, obviously an amazing story in its own right. But we are a Dallas TV station and a North Texas TV station. We got to talk about Scottie Scheffler. Because when you see him to start the day only a few strokes back, you got to think, oh, my gosh, Scottie's got a chance.
Yeah.
And I mean, golf in the last 3-4 years, if Scottie's in that top 5 on Sunday, you're scared, you're nervous. And for the first time, and it felt like forever, Scottie just didn't have it when he needed it most.
Which is crazy because I said exactly that, Jonah. I think he was maybe on 14. He had the opportunity on 13, missed the birdie putt, failed to do anything on 14, and I posted exactly. He just doesn't quite. I mean, he's still right there because that's how good he is. He can not have his A game and still be right there in striking distance to win the Masters. That's how good this dude is, but he just didn't quite have it. And I hit send on that post, and there he goes, birdies 15, birdies 16. I'm like, either I'm cursed or I just gave him the best reverse jinx ever because he almost surged and won the flipping tournament.
But that's what's
it was unbelievable.
That's what's crazy about Scottie and Rory, for that matter, is that it feels like these guys are having bad rounds. And then you look at their scorecard, and they're even par, maybe -1. I mean, Scottie, it felt like a very blah round. But he was what? Was he -4 on the day?
I mean, it's the
yes,
first time.
he was 4 under without a bogey. And it felt like a blah round.
It was the first time there was 2 rounds without a bogey since 1942 or something ridiculous like that.
That's the standard. That's the
only
standard
because they
that
could
he
only
has
go
set.
that far back.
Right. But also, like, again, this close, that shot on 17 that just peels off. He had like 4 putts on this entire final round that a nudge here or there, it's a totally different round, and he wins it walking away. But if that 17 shot goes in and then Rory slices into the woods, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Talk about drama. And you want drama. You want to put Scheffler and McIlroy in a playoff for the Masters?
That's the hard part about all of this, is that over the course of the weekend, there were so many moments where Scheffler just let a stroke out there.
Yeah.
And all he needed was one at the end. I mean, that's what's crazy. But finally, just kind of last thoughts. I mean, there was so much that went on today. Sergio Garcia just crashing out in the weirdest of ways. Actually, not really weird.
It was like me yesterday.
Kind of par for the course. But my personal favorite, I found myself kind of rooting for him today, was Hao Tong Lee from China, who's really kind of become sort of a golf fan favorite. Took forever to find his ball over the course of the day. He was like -7, -8 at one point. Finishes +1 because he just absolutely collapsed on the second 9.
Quintuple bogey.
And he was playing with Scottie the entire time. I thought that might elevate.
Did you hear what they said he has engraved on one of his clubs?
What's this?
Handsomest man in all of China.
Love it.
Is engraved on his 5-iron.
He is the Dos Equis man of golf. He is just so fascinating. I want to see more of him, and I hope we see him competing again next year. He was fantastic. But we got to put a pin in the conversation. That's Masters, I guess. We could talk about this more. We probably will. But we got to talk Mavs coming up.
Some guy we're going to see next year, Cooper Flagg. Stay with
us. Today's headlines, sponsored by your North Texas Chevy dealers.
Cooper Flagg ends his rookie season tonight with 10 points in an injury-shortened 10-minute stint as the Mavs beat the Bulls at home to close out the regular season. The NBA lottery is set for May 10th in Chicago. And the Rangers avoid the sweep in LA, defeating the Dodgers 5-2. So for like the last couple of months, Mike has gotten mad at me every time I've been saying, hey, the Mavs should win a couple here or there just to kind of lift the spirits. Today was not the one you wanted to win.
What's the point? Why?
No, I mean, before you were going to go on this slant, right, where it's like you just want to give something positive and the rest of the NBA can shuffle. But with a half game out of 3% now, that's rough, man. You go from potentially 9% and now in a coin flip between 0.1, between 6.7 and 6.8.
If you're just randomly tuning into us, the Mavs won tonight, their final game of the season, and that dropped their chances of landing the number 1 pick from what to what? You have the numbers.
They are now tied for 7th and 8th with the Pelicans. They could have been tied for 6th, 7th, which could be but could eventually lead to like a 9% chance of winning.
And that might seem like not that much, but they won the draft at 1.8%. Every percentage point matters. So with that, and the Mavs season essentially being done, they're doing exit interviews, I think, actually, as we speak at the American Airlines Center. Cooper Flagg's night cut short due to an ankle sprain. If it's just an ankle sprain, I'm sure he'll be fully recovered in due time. But as we look ahead for these Mavericks, I don't even know where to begin. This year was super weird. We knew it was going to be super weird to begin with, but I'm oddly feeling optimistic because of the potential that they have for next year, even if they end up with the 7th or whatever, 8th pick in the NBA draft. Mike, do you agree or no?
I think there is a ton of reason for optimism for this team. I do think that the result today and the result of the 2 wins that they got here in these last, whatever it was, 5 or 6 games that do drop them from what could have been solo 6th to now tied for 7th or 8th. Those ping pong balls matter. And to be honest with you, where I think it matters more isn't necessarily the percentage chance to move into the top 4 or to move to 1. It's your raw nut. Like if they lose the coin flip and they're 8, now if you have 4 teams jump you, you can drop all the way to 12. Not that that's very likely, but in terms of like if you have teams drop you, now your starting point is 8. You're either going to be 1 through 4 or 8 or lower, 8 through potentially 12. That's obviously not as good, necessarily not as good as it could have been if you had lost those 2 games down the stretch. And all of that aside, yes, I think that there is reason for optimism for this team because there is enough depth in this draft that if, let's say, you win the coin flip and you just stand pat at 7th, you should get a really good basketball player. You should get a running mate for Cooper Flagg.
Yep.
Add in health for Derek Lively, some really interesting young pieces that have come into the fold over the course of the last couple of weeks. Health, obviously, eventually for Kyrie Irving, though they need to kind of figure out how he fits with their plans for the future. But there is a very realistic pathway to this team, one, being halfway decent enough to contend, and then the other piece of this is there's no reason to do anything but try to contend because they don't control their own draft pick for 5 years. So the tanking, if you're a Mavs fan that hates tanking, good, because you don't ever have to worry about it again, basically. By the time they have a first-round pick again, Adam Silver will have solved this problem, and it won't exist anymore anyway. So you just watched the last game where the Mavs could have tanked, and they failed at it.
That's an optimistic viewpoint on whether or not tanking will still exist in 4 or 5 years from now. But at a minimum, even in that time frame, like just the fact that Flagg's on the roster, there's reason for other guys to look at Dallas as a destination spot. Is it Luka, where you can get a shooter coming in and sit there and think, yeah, I'm going to get 10 wide open threes because Luka's gravity is that way? Probably not. But you can be a part of the development process on a young kid that is scoring on occasion 40 to 50 points. Like you've got an offensive weapon that you can be the running mate to and see yourself in a community that is, quite frankly, willing to get back into this business to some degree.
And we won't really know the full scope of this because, I mean, financials matter. It's not like the Mavs can just get the pick of the litter with NBA free agents. They've got to meet certain, metrics there financially. But I do wonder, and we're not going to really know until it actually comes to fruition, but I do wonder if NBA free agents would rather play with Cooper Flagg than a Luka Doncic, if they had the choice between the two, just because Luka is so ball dominant, you're playing off ball so much, and a majority of NBA players are not used to playing off ball unless that's what they've been doing their whole careers. And most guys who make it to the pros haven't been doing that. So I do wonder if maybe free agents see a better fit or a better role for them playing alongside Cooper Flagg. And then there's also the question of Kyrie. I mean, he's coming off the ACL injury, presumably will be fully healthy, but he's still, into his 30s now, and, how far does that runway go? So still a lot of questions. I am excited that if they can kind of end up in that top 7. You hit on it, Mike, and it really probably depends on who's available. But the chances of them getting that player that can be that running mate with Cooper Flagg is extreme. Because, watching March Madness, I thought maybe going into the tournament there was actually really only 2 or 3 guys, but some of the kids, like the kid from Illinois, I think would be
Keaton Wagler.
We would be incredible. So now it's not just maybe a top 2, but really a top 5, 6, 7. So there's certainly, I think, reason to feel hope. Also, they've got John Poulikitis under contract for another year, and that's pretty awesome. The Greek Freak 2.0.
The new Greek Freak, yeah.
He has another nickname on Twitter that I'm not allowed to say on television, even if it's this late at night. But we're not done yet.
Stay with us on the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show. We're comparing the 2 best sports weekends. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show. Time out for a little game we like to call This or That. I got a few debate topics, and you got to decide which one you prefer and why. Mike, remember, we do not have a full hour to opine here, so I need you to keep a little bit tight, all right? First off, we just experienced these couple weekends. It's time to pit them against each other. Which is the better sports weekend? First rounds of March Madness or the Masters? Mike, this or that?
I'm going first few rounds of March Madness. Those first 2 days, especially the first round, that Thursday, Friday, is just awesome. It's nonstop awesome. Masters Sunday's really, really good, and you're forcing me to pick between 2 of my favorites. But if I'm picking just one, I'm picking the first 2 days of March Madness.
Jonah?
Now, young Javad would have definitely said first weekend of March Madness because that was my jam. But my love for the college game has eroded a little bit due to NIL and transfer portal, and the storylines just aren't as juicy as they used to be 10, 15, 20 years ago. So give me Masters weekend. I love it. I love the tradition, and I love the storylines like Hao Tong Lee spending an hour looking for his ball today.
It does feel like a little 2 ships passing in the night where the Masters is more consistent and March Madness might be dwindling this year. Obviously, a point toward March Madness. All right, moving on here. Number 2, more satisfying sports noise. A solid golf swing or the swish of a basketball through the net? Jonah, this or that?
This is another tough one. These are my 2 favorite sports. I'd probably say a good golf swing, but give me that good compression, good 5-iron.
Mike, what do you think?
You've picked really good ones tonight. Wow. I'm going golf swing because it's harder and rarer and tougher to find.
That's an interesting way to look at it. I just feel like hearing a 3, that little that you hear on the broadcast, especially when they pop up the Nat mics, it is so nice. Let's head on to number 3 here. All right, let's internalize this a little bit. What would you rather do? Rec League basketball or play 18? Either way, you're losing to an old guy with a knee brace. Mike, who was recently featured in Avid Golf magazine, this or that?
That's great.
Stop it.
He's blushing.
I'm going hoops. As much as I loved playing on the simulator today, I miss playing pickup basketball. It's been since before COVID the last time I played pickup basketball, and I miss it like crazy. I love playing pickup hoops.
Jonah?
Yeah. I miss it too. I'm in the same boat as Mike. But give me 18 holes of golf. It's timeless. And if your body is still in one piece, knock on wood, it's something you can do until you're 85 or 90. So.
I am challenging that notion. All right. And lastly, watching sporting events in person or on television. And I'm asking the Masters today. Jonah, would you rather be there or would you rather watch like you did today?
Witness and is this a serious question?
In other words, be part of the gallery or just or watch the broadcast and how it weaves the narrative throughout the day?
Did you see some of the camera work by CBS on the final hole today? Give me watch in person because at least I know where the ball will be.
You know what? That's a fair point. Mike, what do you think?
Lance Barrow's not going to be happy with you. Listen, it's the Masters. The singularity of being able to be at Augusta National, that wins out every single time. Even though I'm not sure that you can really follow it nearly as well in like following golf in person and actually knowing what's happening on the course is extremely hard to do because it's happening so far away from you. And you can't have a phone, so it's not like you can have the Masters app up. So that's a different challenge. You probably don't absorb anywhere near as much of the tournament that way. But just to be there, I've never been there, and I don't think either of you guys have either. It's such a rare thing to have the opportunity to do something that special, just one time, man.
I'm kind of thinking like Jonah's going to blame the camera work. I'm blaming my own eyesight. If I'm like behind, like 6 rows back in the gallery, and it's a slice, and all of a sudden you just see a wall or something. No, like I need the television experience, especially to get the little interruptions of Spieth and reminding that he's still on the course occasionally.
He had a nice chip in today.
He did. It was great. Mike, thanks so much for joining us.
Top 12 in ties.
On Sunday. Really appreciate you. Jonah's final take coming up next. If you're gonna let people, shank shots on 18, I can do that too. It was just hurt like heck the next day. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, that was a heck of a drive by Rory.
A heck of a save.
I think everybody was holding on to their butts on that one, being like, "Oh, Rory, are you going to do it again?"
He hit it so bad, he actually went into the fairway and gave himself the right ankle.
Genius.
Jonah's final take.
Even though a lot of general managers or owners, perhaps the Cowboys owner, what have you, believe that there is a rebuilding involved in sports and that things need to take a number of years to go through a certain process for you to reach championship caliber, that's just not really true anymore in sports. You see it in the NBA. You saw the Pistons go from one of the worst teams in the league to atop the Eastern Conference. You see it in the NFL, the Patriots being one of the worst teams to the Super Bowl. The Dallas Wings have had now the #1 pick in the WNBA draft. This will be their 2nd straight year. And after what they did in free agency over the weekend and still some offseason moves to be made, they can certainly make a threat to become a championship contender this upcoming season. All it takes is just some savvy moves and going all in.
Can't wait to see Paige Beckers on the court again. It's going to be fun, man.
So pumped.
Thanks for watching the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show. We'll see you guys next week.
This has been the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show, sponsored by your North Texas Chevy dealers. Together, let's drive.